What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. If you are here, you are most likely very excited for the upcoming MCU's Fantastic Four. Now, lately we've talked a lot about the cast of the Fantastic Four, but mainly just about our Fantastic Four members. Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman, Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, and Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. We've done many videos about the cast of the Fantastic Four already. You can check those out, but today we're going to be specifically talking about the villain of the Fantastic Four, which we believe to be Galactus, and a couple of his heralds that'll be coming along with him. Now, when we think about the Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer, Galactus, Doctor Doom, these are just some of the villains that come to mind as the most iconic, and Galactus is definitely one of the most iconic, not only Marvel villains, but specifically Fantastic Four villains, and it looks like he could be played in the MCU by Antonio Banderas. Now, we have briefly talked about this rumor in the past, but now it seems like there's a lot of credit to it. And now it seems like Antonio Banderas himself might have actually teased this. Antonio Banderas himself has recently released a video that shows him getting a cast or a mold made of his face. The quote is getting an exact copy of his face built for a movie. And the video is posted as well that you can see here. Now, this is really interesting because this is happening right when the rumor appeared of him possibly playing Galactus for the Fantastic Four MCU movie. And what is kind of the biggest deal of Galactus? His face. His face and the iconic helmet. Mostly because in the comics, his head is as big or bigger than planets. He's the devourer of worlds, and he has the size to actually do it. Now, whether or not they're going to use Antonio Banderas' whole body or just his face, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be a huge improvement from the last Galactus that we saw in The Rise of the Silver Surfer. So pretty much as long as Antonio Banderas isn't a huge cloud, he's gonna be all right. Now, right away, go ahead and let us know what you think in the comments if you think Antonio Banderas is a good choice for Galactus. I personally do think that he has a really great voice for the character, which is one of the biggest parts of Galactus. Obviously, they can CGI his face in any way to make him look like Galactus, plus add the helmet. So as far as the look of Galactus goes, yes, his face could do a great job as Galactus, but the voice is a really big part. And this is a really big role because Galactus has had his hands in many different story events throughout Marvel Comics, sometimes as the villain, sometimes fighting with the heroes, and sometimes just kind of neutral. And the thing is, Galactus isn't necessarily a villain per se. Obviously, he's a big bad villain, a big bad threat to you if the planet that he wants to devour is yours. But he is actually sort of just a necessity to the universe. That is what eternity, the embodiment of the universe itself, says in the comics, that Galactus is necessary and does sort of balance the universe. Him and Thanos could have been best friends. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we learned that Thanos at one point in time sought Galactus to help him sort of balance the universe until Thanos discovered the Infinity Stones. So this is a role that Antonio Banderas or whoever else might end up taking this role is going to probably have for a pretty decent time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not as a big bad, but as a big cosmic character that could have multiple parts to play in multiple different storylines. This has actually been a pretty decent debate within the Marvel fandom so far. With all the rumors coming of Galactus, people are talking about him possibly being a big bad or him not being big enough to be a big bad. And the issue with him being a big bad is that his motivation is simply only to survive. He literally requires sustenance to maintain his existence. That is why he devours worlds, to survive. He doesn't really have any big conqueror plans. His goal is not to rule the entire universe or rule a few planets. He simply needs sustenance to survive. So he has his heralds go seek out planets that are right for him to consume. They find planets for him and he goes and he most of the time devours them until he comes to Earth, of course, in the comics, and the Fantastic Four drive him away. So the argument of him not being a big bad is he he doesn't really have any big bad intentions. Again, they're viewed as big bad intentions if the world he's about to consume is your world and you're about to die, but he isn't exactly like Thanos seeking out to balance the universe. Eternity says that this is what he does, but that's not his intentions. His intentions aren't even necessarily evil to himself. He's not exactly an evil being, and like I said, he has even fought with heroes on occasions. And this is why I kind of actually like Antonio Banderas for this role, because I really like Antonio Banderas as a good guy, but I really also like him as some mysterious parts and some bad guy parts as well. All of which I think Galactus has. There are surprisingly a lot of different aspects to Galactus that can be had in the MCU. He could start off as a villain, be pushed away from Earth, and of course return to Earth to try to devour it, but he could also be a key character to play in some of the cosmic stories of the MCU, especially if we really dive into the Celestials trying to destroy Earth as well. In fact, that would be a pretty cool storyline, the Celestials coming into conflict with Galactus. That is something that I truly hope we do see in the MCU at some point in time. Now, Galactus's heralds are, of course, a huge part of the story with the Fantastic Four as well. The Silver Surfer is the most known herald. However, we have heard some reports that the Silver Surfer might not be the herald or one of the heralds to show up in the Fantastic Four film. We have been hearing reports, of course, for a while that the Silver Surfer is supposed to get a special presentation coming from Disney+. Marvel Studios has not confirmed this yet, and we are not sure when exactly this is going to be released, either before the Fantastic Four movie or after. But recent rumors have suggested that he is not going to be one of the heralds that show up in the Fantastic Four film. But the Silver Surfer not being the herald of Galactus in the Fantastic Four movie could open up the door for a really cool storyline. Although the full history of every single herald that Galactus has had is not fully known, we do know of many different heralds that he's had, like the Fallen One and Terrax. The only problem with this is that, of course, Galactus gives his heralds the power cosmic. A fraction of the power cosmic, that is. Galactus holds the full power. But there's a problem with some of these heralds. They revolt against Galactus and try to defeat him. They're hostile and can't be controlled by Galactus, so therefore he either defeats them or imprisons them. So there could be some conflict between Galactus's heralds and himself in the Fantastic Four film, especially if we're going for kind of an origin of Galactus. This could lead us to Galactus wanting a more tame, a more noble and loyal herald, which could lead us to Norrin Radd, aka the Silver Surfer, after the Fantastic Four movie. This could also give the Fantastic Four a little bit more to deal with, a couple of heralds plus Galactus. All in all, making for a pretty good story if this is what we have to expect for the Fantastic Four in the MCU. Also, I gotta say that the current lineup that we have for the Fantastic Four, Adam Driver, Margot Robbie, Paul Mescal, and Daveed Diggs, I think they would mesh really well going up against Antonio Banderas as Galactus. I think this would be a good call, but let us know what you think about this in the comments down below. Do you like this idea? And do you think Antonio Banderas would make a good Galactus? Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video, and if you subscribe and leave a comment, you're automatically entered in our giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox Series X, a PS5, some Marvel Legends items, and some DC items as well. The winner gets to pick one item, and we pick a winner at the end of each month. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.